Hello and welcome to the Author's Lounge. My name is Paulette Henson, and today I have a special guest joining me. Her name is Clarice Annette Brooks, and also co hosting with me today will be Tina Jackson. Tina, welcome. Annette, welcome to the show.
Thank
How
you.
are
Pleasure to
you?
be here. Thank you. I'm well.
Great.
Nice, nice. So we are here today. We're going to talk to Miss Annette, Clarice Annette Brooks, about her book. I love it. Excuse me while I live my life. Oh my goodness, Clarice, I have been watching you,
Oh,
and every time I see you, um, talking and reading your poetry, I grab this book and I try to find what you're reading, and I am just hooked to this book, your
thank you.
delivery. You are
Yeah.
amazing,
I
very
appreciate that.
impactful.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
I really appreciate it. And there's
So
nothing else
tell
but
me this. What is your tell us our audience about who you are and your inspiration in writing your book.
Yeah.
well, I am Clarice Annette Brooks. I'm born in New York. My family's from St. Martin, beautiful Caribbean island of St. Martin, where I have enjoyed many, many summers. And
Yes.
I was a teacher for many years, a teacher, assistant principal, both a teacher and administration in education. And I've always loved to write. I've always loved to share my poems and my stories. From the time I was a small child in school, the teachers would have us, write poetry or different stories about different things, and I love doing that. And the my classmates would love to hear my stories. And they would ask me to read first, and they would laugh at the right place, and they would gasp at the right place. And so I always knew I had something there that I love. But
Yes.
sometimes life you're safe in life. And I went into education, and I loved education. I loved
Yes.
teaching, but I continued writing. And I always said, one day I'm going to write a book. And then I finally said to myself, what on earth am I waiting for? I can do
Right.
both. I'm going to wait till I retire, and so I about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I said, let me really seriously start to compile my work and put it in
Yes.
order and work on getting it published. And I did. And it came out to be my first book of poetry, which I hope will be the first of many. Excuse me while I live
Yes.
my life.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
It's
Wait.
amazing.
It really is. Your your delivery is so impactful. Like I said, I have watched you and your inspiration in writing. I totally can agree with you on how all of this is in your head, but life is going, and it's like you're telling yourself, okay, I need to do it, I need to do it. But you can find time to do it, right? It's
Yes, have
whether
to.
it's on your phone, recording it, or putting in some type of digital form where you can speak it, that
Mhm.
works as well. And
Yes, it
so
does.
when you started, when you began, tell us about how that was, reliving those thoughts.
Well,
Mm.
a moment ago you asked me about my inspiration, and a lot of
Yes.
the poems in here are inspired by conversations that I've had with my children. I have two children, Alexa, Claire, and Daniel. And
Yes.
so some of them are just sort of like started as conversations that I had with them that were sort of life lessons. And I would
Yes.
also speak with my students about certain things.
Yes.
So it came into sort of like poetry. Like you were talking to me before about a poem called Climb, and
Yes.
it just comes from conversations. That's how they sort of started. So getting things done, as you just asked, I compiled the work, and I edited and compiled and re-edited and re-edited and re-edited over and over again. And finally, I approached a publishing company or two, and I did get rejection letters, which is fine. I was like, okay, that's perfectly fine. And I'll
Right.
tell you something, I'm glad I did, because I was able to sort of publish, not completely a self-published, but sort of a hybrid. I
Yes.
did hire a company to do the outlay for me in the book, because when I was doing it, it was sort of going all over the place
Yes.
on the KDP venue. And they did a beautiful job. That was Stillwater River Publishing. I loved working with them. And when it was all done, I was ready to go, and we published it on Amazon and all the other outlets where you can purchase books from online.
Yes.
So, and it did extremely well. The week it came out, I was ecstatic to find out that it hit #1 on Amazon in the area of
Woo-hoo!
Black
Yes.
African
Congratulations.
poetry. And I did not go to sleep that night. I will tell you, I did not. I could. My heart was pounding so hard,
Yes.
and I was
Yes.
so excited. It was in #1, and that was the paperback version, and then the Kindle version came in #4, and then the following week the hardcover was published, and that came in #7. So all three versions of the book were in the top 10, with the paperback going to #1 upon its release. So I was excited about that, and I love to tell the story that one of the companies that rejected me that week, that one of their books came out that week, and I was in #1 spot, and the book that they published professionally came in #3. So I beat them after they had rejected.
Ah.
Tell that story, and I tell that story because I, not to brag or anything, but I mean, I am proud of it because it was a lot of work, but I tell the story for those writers out there who, like me, are wondering about putting their work together, and will anybody listen? And
Yes.
I'll tell you something, with social media, you said that you saw my work on social media.
Yes.
I do have a Facebook page, Clarice Annette Brooks -author, and I use the Instagram and all the other ones that my daughter tells me to use. I can't keep up with them. And
Right.
all of that, you can do a lot of marketing and promotion and read your poetry online the way that you dreamt it in your head, and you can get it out there and you can meet success. So I tell that story repeatedly for every single person who is thinking of putting their stories to paper and their poetry out there, or whatever, their lyrics, whatever it is that they are writing. So it's absolutely possible.
Yes, it is. It really is. I totally agree, because we're at a different place now where we have all the tools to write our book, to publish it, to find people to assist us with cover and all of those intricate details. And so now it's really on the individual to just do it.
That is the truth.
It does take time, a time you have to invest in, but it will save you a lot of money. And doing your own marketing as it relates to social media, that truly is the way to go, because the publishers do the same thing, or they'll require that you have a large public following, right?
Yes.
Some of
Yes.
them require, like, what, 12, was it minimum 1,500 followers
Yes.
in order for them to even pick you up. And
Yes.
so that's really, really good. So you told me to find a poem which all of your poems, I feel that I can relate to. As a businesswoman, a Black businesswoman that is doing multiple projects and a huge background, there's some of these poems that really I've experienced. And so when you read them, I can, like, 1000% relate. And it's just, it blesses me because I don't feel alone. As you continue to travel through your journey, you're elevating.
Yes.
And you keep elevating. And as you elevate, at those pyramids, there's not too many at the top. The foundation, that's where everybody is. And so just want to say thank you. And this poem I'm going to read from Clarice's book is called Climb. When I started my ascent, first climbing one rung, then two, you tossed dirt down on my face, and you thought I'd be through. But I brushed it off and I kept on. It's giving me chills. Climbing to three, then four. And you shook the ground so very hard, thinking I'd brave it no more. But I held on tight and I kept on, climbing to five, then six. You blew hot, wind down, and I will admit, you blew hot wind down, and I will admit it burned. But I held my grip. Whew, thank you, Jesus. I
Very good.
looked ahead, almost there, climbing to seven, then eight. And you stomped with a fury that was so great. So filled to the brim you were with hate.
Mm.
But I did it. I finally did it. Reaching nine, then 10. So remember our little story and never doubt upon me again.
Mm.
Woo!
Thank you for reading that.
Oh my, powerful.
Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed that one. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a very dear friend who's been through a lot in the past 2 years with an illness, and she told me that is one of the poems that helped her at times when it was really tough. And she's much better now, and she still reads that poem, and
Yes.
it's close to her heart. So thank you for picking that one.
Yes.
I'm gonna let her know that you chose it, that you agreed with her
Yes.
choice, one of her favorites.
Amazing. I mean, I'm still feeling just, it's so empowering for me, and it's so relatable because again, I've had businesses that failed. I've had businesses that have done well,
Mhm.
but I continue to move on. Like I didn't let it stop me.
That's right. You keep
And
climbing.
I use my failures as opportunities.
Mhm.
And so there were doubts everywhere,
Yes.
coming from all sides and just
Yeah.
keeping,
And
I
so
just kept,
often it comes some jealousy. People may be
yes,
jealous of you.
yes,
People are afraid of your power.
right. They're offended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have
They're
to keep it on
It's
the outside.
real.
Don't let it get inside.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Climbing.
And so this just spoke to that's what I was doing. I was climbing, and I didn't let me waver in any
That's right.
way. I just kept pushing forward. It wasn't easy,
That's right.
but I did it,
Yeah.
and so that's really that got me. And I was, when
Let
you
them
were
never doubt
saying it,
upon you again.
yes, exactly.
That's
And
right.
exactly. And once you get there and you get to that point, and then sometimes God will bring those same people in your midst again so that they can see,
That's right.
what happened.
That's right.
Isn't
Yeah.
that amazing?
And hopefully they'll learn.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, but that's up to
Yeah.
them.
Hopefully. So
I just
go ahead
I
and
just want to
read
say,
it.
Clarice, that poem was amazing, and that you are a spellbinding speaker. Because I was reading Take Time in the Morning,
Yes.
and that poem really affected me because I think as women we're just always running and
Oh,
rushing and
yes.
hectic, and we neglect ourselves, and that's why we can tend to get very sick.
That
And
is so
so,
true.
what inspired you to write that poem?
Well, I was inspired to write the poem I Take Time in the Morning because I had to learn to take time in the morning. I was
Yes.
always one of those people who, get up right away.
Yeah, me
Really get
too.
up, the stronger the woman you are, and and I don't always want to be. I don't know. I want to think about what it means to be strong. What does it really mean to be a strong woman? And I have come to the
Mhm.
decision that, sometimes a big part of it is learning how to take care of yourself
Yes.
first. You know,
Yes. You
so
have
Yes,
to.
I
Yeah.
in the morning, I created a playlist of songs
true.
that I love to listen to that
Hmm.
touch my soul. I mean, songs like Travis Green's "Be Still," and I had some
Yes.
CC Winans on there, and some other
Yes.
things like that. And then when I wake up in the morning, I like to turn that playlist on, and I like
Mhm.
to listen to those songs. And I have different playlists, like whatever kind of mood I kind of wake up in, and I will listen to that, then do my stretching, and I will drink my water. And I had to learn to do that. And I will tell you, it has been such a blessing for me to do that. So,
Yeah, it gives you peace,
Yes.
and
yes,
it helps you to get in tune with yourself. It
yes,
Yeah.
really does, because you have to. I tell people that you have to, when you create your calendar, you
hmm,
need to include your personal time in your calendar
yes,
Yes.
so that you block off time where that's just for you, you
that's right.
know. So then you start appreciating that, and then also, take yourself out to lunch, like just you
Right.
treat yourself. It is so amazing when you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
And you have to
that's
teach
true.
people. You have to teach people how to treat you
oh
also.
yes,
And
definitely.
you have to learn that sometimes the word no is the only word in the sentence. And
Right,
I can't,
Right.
can't do everything. And you can, not that you're going to be mean to anybody else, but you have to,
right.
if you cannot help yourself first, you're not going to be able to help anybody else.
Yes,
That's
And
right.
so, those are all lessons that I had to learn.
yes, me too.
Shall I
Me
share the poem
too.
with everyone now?
Please.
Okay.
Yes, go
Sure.
ahead. I'm just enjoying the conversation. I love talking with you. How about you, Tina? I mean, we're just like,
Oh, yes.
wow,
I
going.
feel like I've known you for years already.
I feel that way
Mesmerized.
too. Like we could just go on and keep chatting. So yes.
I
Great
take,
minds think alike.
amen. Yes. I take time in the morning. I take time in the morning, time that is just for me. I do this, you see, for my sanity. I know what is coming, so I cannot neglect to take this time each morning to stop and to reflect. It's a habit of sorrow to begrudge a brand new day. I will not allow that kind of thinking to become my way.
Mm,
So I will not whine and I will not moan. And I refuse to greet the day by reaching for my phone. Because I don't need someone's
Yes.
gossip or some hysterical headlines. Instead, I choose
Mm.
to create a sense of peace within my mind. So I will bask in my moment
Mm.
and I will first clear my own head. Just take a moment to appreciate my life's glories instead. I
mm,
said I will take my moment. To just grab hold, a moment, as they say, to first restoreth my soul. And
Mm.
when I am done and I am feeling my own steady, I will then get up and say, "Hey, new day, I'm ready."
wow.
Ready.
Thank you.
I'm ready.
Hallelujah.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Love it.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you have a favorite. I want you to
Yes.
Yeah.
bookmark in the book at that spot and just know that it comes from me to you.
Oh, thank you, Clarice. Oh my goodness. I love you.
Great. Great.
Wow.
I just wanted to ask you one more question. I
Sure.
was listening to you speak about you were at a barbecue and a little boy was jumping all around being a kid and how his father punished him by making him go read. And I
Yes.
really love the way you encouraged the kid to read and made it like it's interesting. It's not a punishment.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I wanted to ask you like what you felt about now, because when I go to libraries, I see the children's section empty.
I know.
Like, how does that make you feel? And what do you think we can do to change that?
Well, first of all, the greatest gift you can give a child is to really learn how to read and to know that reading is a pleasure. You learn from it. It creates imagination. It makes you want to travel or to experience things that you read about. It takes you away. So, one thing I will always say, I'm going to echo what you just said, is never have a punishment for a child that is
Yes.
reading or writing. Don't make
Right.
what should be a wonderful experience for them
Right.
a punishment ever.
Mhm.
And
Ever.
sometimes ever. And
Right.
sometimes
Right.
you have to educate people who to just make sure, when you're raising your child and every opportunity that we get to let them know, always introduce reading, writing to your children as pleasures in life and to
Yeah.
read with them. I think that there's a lot of
Yes.
reading with children as much as there used to be. There's so
Yeah.
many. It's much easier than when I was a child. I see a lot of people hand them a electronic device, and
Mhm.
there's a lot of things, and it's instant, and it's bing, 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 and all these other
Right.
on
Yeah.
the screen and whatever. And there's a time and place for everything. That should be a
Yes.
little, something. But the main thing is cuddling up on someone's lap, your mom's lap, your dad's lap, grandparents, and sharing a book
Yeah.
with them and having them read that book. So every single time, you, me, anyone who's listening, our duty is to remind parents of that and
Yes.
how important that is. The
Yes.
other thing is
True.
the other thing is seeking out your public library. When
Mhm.
I was growing up, the library was
Yes.
a huge part of my life. I
Right.
Yes.
would go to the
Mine
library
too.
every Wednesday. My mom
Yeah.
had off from
Yes.
work Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And
Mhm.
Wednesdays, we'd go to the library. I was excited. I was in this book club. I was in that book club. I was in this,
Yes.
whatever. There were so many different activities there.
Mhm.
I'm the youngest in my family of sisters. One of my sisters would be over in that part working on a project. Another one would be over there doing service work. And, we were all there and I could be there for hours. For me, a punishment was not being able to go to the library. So
Right.
I urge everyone in the sound of my voice, you all share this message, bring your children to the
Yes.
library. Bring your
Yes.
children to the library. If
Yes.
you are a parent, some parents, I've met parents who were not able to read themselves. There's plenty of reading groups in the library for all ages. There's
Yes.
from little running on rugrats, on the mat
Exactly.
to, I'm in a book club in the library myself. I like mysteries. I go to the library and I'm in one of the mystery clubs there, and I'm not a little kid anymore. So there's something there for everybody. So if you feel that,
Yes.
you know what, I don't have the time to do it myself, go to the library. Even if you do have the time, go to the library. There's so many different things
Yes.
there. I can't,
I
it hurts
totally
my
agree.
heart.
Mhm.
It
That
does.
hurts me to know that people think that picking up a book is a bad thing.
Right. And it's really not. Like you said,
Mm.
growing up, going to the library every week, plus
Mm.
there was a library at schools. And from what
Yes.
I hear, a lot of the schools are alleviating their library,
Yeah.
which is
My Lord.
terrible.
My
That, that,
Lord.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And when I was a child, we had library
Mm.
day
We
in
had a
school.
library at
Mhm.
the school, and we had
Yeah.
library day where we
That's
would go and spend, an hour in the library. And
right. Hmm.
so I took that same when I had my sons.
Mhm.
Every week we went to the library,
Hmm.
and I'm like, I don't care what book you read, what you do. We're
Hmm.
going to be here for 2 hours. Get your homework done. And they got to a point they loved going because
Yes.
one, it was an outing and we were going, and they can read something of their interest. One of my sons
Mhm.
loved cars, so he
Yep.
always would get books about cars. Fine,
Mhm.
as long as you're reading, that's what I want.
That's right.
Yes.
Find something that you want to read, but you're reading. And
Yes.
so that
Exactly.
repetition and doing that, it just instills, and even with my grandchildren, go to the library. Like you said, I found a library in my community. I found that they have events
Mhm.
for children, reading
Yeah.
events, storytelling, and all kinds
Mhm.
of activities,
Yeah.
playing where they, 2 and 3 year olds on up. They have them in different groups.
Yep.
And so you can take them, you sit there and watch them, build blocks and that, but they're in the library, they're
Mhm.
being read a story. And so they're starting to learn really
Mhm.
about words and all of that.
Mhm.
And so the library is in no way a punishment. Even if you think that you're punishing someone by telling them to read a book,
Mm.
if they read that book, they're going to get so much out of it, and it really defeats what you're trying to do because
Exactly.
they're going to enjoy that. And you're thinking it's a punishment. No, it's not.
Right.
They're going to get that enjoyment of reading that book. And so it's
Yeah.
almost like a mixed message.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But at any rate, the library is, I even go as I'm studying for my master's, I go just to
Congratulations.
have that quiet time
Yes.
to really
Yes.
focus and concentrate.
Mhm.
But what I've noticed is that some of the younger generation, they don't have library etiquette.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
The library's not quiet.
Yeah.
It's people
No.
talking and running and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, so you have to rent a room to
Mhm.
be in that quiet space.
Mhm.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, but I totally agree with you. The library is, to me,
Mm.
it's like the next thing next to going out.
Yeah.
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 I could spend
Exactly.
a whole day there. Oh, I love.
Yes, I could too.
Yeah. So,
So, wow,
but we got to bring
wow.
that back. We have to bring it back in the schools.
Yeah.
And and I also remember in school being given assignments that I had to go to my local library
Yes,
for
and look
something
up
in
a book.
particular.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
School had like a a partnership with the library, so they would know, okay, Miss Smith's class is studying this, and you're
hmm,
going to have 30 kids coming in looking
right.
for information on that, and yeah, and they were ready. They were
Yes,
ready. That was the
and
library that was closest to the school, so they were ready and they were connected.
yes,
Partnership. It was
yes,
wonderful. Messages went out to the parents that your
yes,
Mhm.
child is going to have to spend this much amount of time at the library to work on this
right.
project. So
Yes,
and if they could all arrange to meet at this time there, it
hmm,
was just, and it was on a Saturday, even back
right.
sometimes the
Mhm.
so that we had to be there. It was so much fun.
It
It,
was.
it breaks my heart to know it's anyone thinks of it as a punishment.
I know it's terrible.
Maybe it is. Maybe, God, because, I believe in God, is going to use women like us to go into the schools and into the daycares and read and
Mhm.
inspire the kids. Because I just feel like God keeps putting this in my spirit. You go and do it,
Yeah,
Yes.
and
And
you
I'm like,
can.
okay, I just got to figure out how to do, like, how to
You
get
know
into
what?
the schools.
I did it for a while. I did it
Really?
for when my younger son was growing up. I always had Monday off during my job, and every Monday, for the older one, I take him lunch to school, drop it off. For the younger one, I would go to his classroom and read a story.
Hmm.
So I take a book and
That's
read
wonderful.
and read a story.
Yeah.
So all the kids just watching their eyes light up, and I
Yeah.
think real animated. And then my little one, William, he was so proud. That's my mommy. And so I saw what it was doing to
It's
all
true.
of them. And
Yeah.
then it became like, I got to go do it again. And so the teacher made time for me every Monday at a certain time. I'd be there reading
Wow.
the story.
That's
And
wonderful.
it was,
Yeah, it is.
how you get the reward back by doing, you just feel so good inside. It was
Yes.
like that.
So
That's
good.
Yeah, yeah. And so then when I got my granddaughter, I started taking her to the library. We do the storytelling. I took her to little events because I had her every day. And so it broke up the day, because you go there for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And she started liking that. So I spoke to the librarian, told them I did storytelling before with children. She's like, oh my God, yes. They need people like that.
Mm-hmm.
People, it's like people that are in that world, it's a very few. And so they need helpers.
Yes.
And so I would read story tell to those children as well. And so it's very impactful for our kids to see us doing that. And
Yes.
then they'll emulate that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
they
wow,
will.
this has
Definitely.
been so much fun. Oh
Yeah.
my
Great.
goodness, Clarice. So nice to meet you in person. We've been emailing back and forth and
Mhm.
getting to know each other on a digital form, but to see you personally, so happy that we connected. And
Thank you.
Tina, so happy to have connected with Tina as well. And
Thank
just,
you.
it's just building. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely love it.
I want to share one more poem with you.
Built.
If that's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
And
Sure.
I want to dedicate this. You mentioned an idea that you just had, Tina, about, maybe this is, God speaking to us that we need to, go out and do some of
Yeah.
you asked
Yes.
before, Paulette, about, what made me put my work together and get it published. And sometimes it's all about seizing the moment and not
Yes.
letting those ideas, oh, it's a great idea. And then it kind of,
Right.
and oh,
I
that's a good idea. And then it kind of, so sometimes it's about seizing the moment. And
Yes.
I'm going to read this poem to you. It's called If I Cease to Seize This Moment.
Okay.
If I cease to seize this
mm.
moment, I will dwell within lament. I will live with self chastisement and feelings of regret. If I cease to
Wow.
seize this moment, all the plans inside of my mind will begin to minimize and then be left behind. If I cease to seize this moment, then I will never know how the greatness I once sought could have been nurtured and well sown. And if I cease to seize this moment, I will never see the person that I always knew I had the power to be.
Mm.
I'll leave you
Yes.
with that.
Wow.
Wow.
That's right. We got to seize the moment.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Wow,
I share
Clarice.
that with my children a lot.
Huh?
I share that one often with my two children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. I love your poetry. I
Yeah.
love your
Yeah.
style.
Oh,
And I mean, it's so captivating. And I thank you so much for joining us today.
was
Any closing remarks that you'd like to give us before you go?
well, I'm going to echo the poem that I just read, If I Cease to Seize This Moment. We only have one life. This is one
Yes.
life. This is it that we've been granted, and it's a tremendous gift. And it's not a life, it wasn't give this life was not given to us to just sort of like, watch other people do things and believe that it was meant for them.
Right.
Right.
There's nothing about them that you cannot have yourself. So I
Right.
want people to really think about, what is it that I really that really sparked life in me when I was a child, before that spark, went out. And I want them to find it again. And I want them to bring it back to life, and put those wasteful things aside, like twiddling on your phone all day, or watching TV all day or something like
Yes.
that, and start make a plan for yourself.
Yes.
That's what I did when I started this book. I said, okay, by this date I'll have this many poems finished, edited, everything. By this date, this many. By this date I'll have the cover. By this date I will have
Yes.
finished editing the first 4 sections. And I followed that schedule, followed
Yes.
religiously. And I ended up with a book that hit number one and on Amazon in Black
Yes.
African
Yes.
Mhm.
poetry. So if find it, and
That's right.
so that would be
Yes.
my message to everyone.
That's great.
Wow. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. So,
Yes.
ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen listening, this is Miss Clarissa Nett Brooks. Her book, Excuse Me While I Live My Life, it's available on Amazon. And wherever books are sold, you can look her up on Facebook, or you can also find her on the Black Women Authors page. So, and that's on Facebook as well. So, thank you so much for joining us today, Clarice. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Tina, thank you so much for co hosting. Truly
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. And we will see you all next time on the Authors Lounge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
Clarice. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.